In my last video blog, I explained how Essence can make practitioners better software modelers for a lifetime. In this video blog, I want to explain how Essence can make practitioners better software estimators for a lifetime. Let me start with a brief story. When I started my software developer career in 1973, a gray-beard mentor gave me some advice. He said, "Learn the things that never change." One of those things, he told me, was how to estimate. And he gave me some very simple estimation advice that I have taken with me throughout my career. 32 years later, in 2005, I listened to a presentation by Judy at the System and Software Technology Conference in Salt Lake City titled 5 Metrics Each of Us Should Be Collecting and Using. Judy's phrasing of her 5 metrics in the form of questions practitioners should be asking themselves brought back memories of my mentor's advice. Today, when I ask practitioners, "How do you estimate?" they often reply with something like, "We use expert judgment and historical data." But when I dig a little deeper, using the advice from my mentor and Judy, I often discover that they don't really understand the essentials underlying good estimation. In the next few minutes, I want to share those essentials with you, how they're captured in the Essence framework, and how they can make practitioners better software estimators for a lifetime. Judys question number 1. Do I know all the pieces I must touch? Essence Work Alpha Prepared State Checklist sufficiently broken down to start. Knowing the pieces you must touch is a good first step to estimating, but Essence goes further, as did my mentor, in getting the team to think about whether or not the work is sufficiently broken down. Now, some have challenged the word sufficient as being ambiguous, but it was intentionally chosen because it is the team that needs to decide, and particularly the team that is doing the work, that needs to decide what is sufficient for them to commit to the work based on their way of working and their competency. Essence Requirements Alpha Coherent State Checklist Conflicts Addressed. My mentor also shared with me a tip to remember when assessing the work breakdown. He said if you're having trouble estimating the work, the root of the problem may not be the work at all. It might be the requirements. Always remember when you're asked to give an estimate of work that if the requirements are not clear, you have little hope of developing an accurate work estimate. Judys question number 2. How long does it take me to do each piece? Essence Work Alpha Under Control State Checklist Commitments Consistently Met. Now, you may think you know how long it takes to do each piece, but have you actually measured it? The fact is, human beings are notorious underestimators of even common simple tasks. It's also a fact that only when we measure will we know for sure how long simple tasks or even longer tasks actually take. Now, let's take a situation. You might find that it's taking you an hour to do a task you believed should have taken 15 minutes. It might just be that it takes an hour, in which case you need to revise your estimates. This will help you remember this the next time so that you will become a better estimator. Or you could decide that maybe you should have been able to do that task in 15 minutes, but your competency isn't where it needs to be, and you might need a little help from a teammate or a coach. Essence, Team Alpha, formed state, checklist, individual responsibilities understood, and how they align with their competencies. Essence, Team Alpha, collaborating state, checklist, team is working as one cohesive unit. Now, with regard to that last point on competency, keep in mind that giving help to a teammate that needs some help or getting help is part of every team member's responsibilities. In other words, it shouldn't be viewed as an interrupt and should be appropriately factored in to your task estimate. Judys question number 3. What is my availability? Essence, Team Alpha, seated state, checklist, team commitment level clear. Often when someone asks you for an estimate, what they really want to know is when will you be done, and they are not the same thing. If you want to be a better estimator for a lifetime, always ask yourself when you're making an estimate, do I have control over my own day to get my committed work done? Or am I constantly being interrupted to work on the latest fire drill or go to another unplanned meeting? And when you give someone your estimate, make sure they understand the difference between your effort estimate and when you will be done. Judys question number 4. Quality. What are my average defects per piece? Essence, work alpha, under control state, checklist, rework under control. We sometimes hear managers tell their practitioners when making an estimate to just assume everything will go perfectly. If you want to be a better estimator for a lifetime, don't be fooled by this head in the sand guidance, and don't allow yourself to be pressured into making assumptions that don't make sense. All projects have defects and rework. Be sure to include those in your estimate. Judys question number 5, effectiveness. Do I meet my commitments? Essence, Team Alpha, performing state, checklist, team consistently meets commitments. Asking yourself if you consistently meet your commitments is a good cross-check. If the answer is yes, you are probably already a good estimator. If the answer is no, then I suggest you use the Essence checklists that I've highlighted in this video to help you dig down and find where your weaknesses are so that you can become a better estimator for life. If you live in a world where the common response to the question, how do we estimate, is we use expert judgment and historical data, make sure the expert making those judgments is you and the historical data is your own. If you follow that tip and the tips in this video, you will become a better estimator for a lifetime.